Yo guys, NSN here. Welcome to a new video. You guys seem to like episode 1 and 2 of the series, so I decided to make episode 3 talking about utility. Now, I think we all know why utility usage is really important. Now, I'm not gonna name all the reasons, but I'll just name a few. First of all, just talking about smokes, right? Like if you use a well-timed smoke, it just forces your opponents to be running through if you're CT side. You can use it for one ways. I mean, same goes for mollies, right? You can delay the opponents. You can force them to go through fire, take damage, delay them, and have CT players rotate. If you're CT side, you can use it to take control. A lot of use cases that utility has, right? And I just named a couple of them. And I don't think I need to name them all. I think we all know. So let's just get straight into the video. Now, first of all, I'm going to be talking about basics and general knowledge. Secondly, I'll be talking about map control. Then I'll be talking about utility usage against lowbuy or eco. Then I'll be talking about individual utility usage. And then at last, interplay utility usage between players. So let's get straight into it. Chapter 3.1 Basics and General Knowledge. If you want to be the best version of yourself and you really want to excel being at a player, and if you feel like you lack in aim and positioning, you can try to excel at utility usage, right? You should know that you can smoke CT from many positions in Banana, right? You can smoke it like this, but you can also smoke it like this. You can smoke it like this, right? Going into this corner and aiming it. You should know how to molly dark and how to molly new box, etc., etc. I mean, not many players know how to smoke CT in 3 different positions, and I'm sure the people that do know play at a higher level and are probably most likely in salaried teams, right? How many times have you met someone in Pogs that just that doesn't know CT smoke from this position, right? I mean, personally, in 3K, 4K Elo, I've met quite a few. They'll just do it like this, and when I ask, do you know coffin smoke? They a lot of times don't respond, and eventually, when you ask them to smoke it, they'll just run up here like this, smoke in hand, and just do this. So it's not ideal. If you want to be the best version of yourself, you gotta know on every single map the basics, the general knowledge. You gotta know how to smoke long, how to molly porch, right? These things are all self-explanatory in my opinion. If you really want to become the best version of yourself, as good as you can be, you gotta know more than the average face-up player. Like right now, I'm on Mirage, right? Like if you don't know how to smoke mid, top mid, and you really are trying to be a good player, like what are you doing? If you don't know the delayed window smoke, if you don't know the A smokes, right? If you don't know how to smoke top cone from ramp, if you don't know how to smoke jungle from ramp, right? If you don't know how to smoke top cone from behind boxes, like what are you really trying to do? Are you really trying to excel, be the best version of yourself? And if you know that aim and positioning are not your strongest suits, then why not try and excel at these things? Basics and general knowledge at every map should be at a certain level. And the smokes I just showed you in Mirage, that's like basics, in my opinion. That's like 101. These smokes here, I would say these are basics too, you know? I would say these are basics too. Everyone should know these. This for me is like the lowest of low. In my opinion, if you play in a team and you just like imagine you just play main on intermediate, and you play in a team and you try hard, if you don't know these smokes, it's kind of embarrassing, if I'll be honest. Right? Now, I'm not gonna go through all maps right now, but if you don't know how to smoke like bathrooms on overpass, if you don't know how to smoke dumpster, you don't know how to multi truck, you don't know how to smoke heaven from monster, you're lacking in basics and general knowledge. If you trial for a team and you happen to be at long and they say, "Oh, can you smoke dumpster from here?" and you say no, like how does that come across? Does it come across as someone that has good work ethic, someone that tries to be the best version of themselves? No, it doesn't. So basics and general knowledge, if you haven't mastered this part, then there's a lot of work for you to do if you're really serious about Counter-Strike. I would highly advise you to get on an offline server and just start learning all the basics. Now, talking about chapter 3.2, which is map control. I won't go too much into this, but like the general goal of taking map control on the T side is just gaining information about what the opponents are doing, what the opposing team is doing, punishing them for doing things that they shouldn't be doing, punishing them for potentially being aggressive and trying to catch you off guard, and eventually making an end call based on the information that you've gained. And map control on every map is different. On Overpass, for example, you could take mid, you could do these names. Um, like this. Walk up con, walk out mid. You could have a B short default with 3 people going like towards B, one guy con, one guy A. So the end game of map control is just to gain information and to end somewhere. I mean, it's nice also if get kills doing it, but I mean, it's not a necessity, you know? You want to spread out the defense of the opponent team. I mean, it's the same for every single map, right? Like, I mean, if you take Inferno, for example, you default mid by having 3 or 4 people going towards mid. This is where then, like, the utility usage comes into play, because the goal of taking map control is to not die and gain information to be able to end somewhere, right? If you use these nades and you default heavy, the risk of you dying is much less if you just take it by having no nades. So this is where utility comes into play, and it's the same for like what I showed on overpass, for example. If you smoke, if when you take mid, you smoke bathrooms and you multi divider and flash divider away, there's a really small chance you'll die to an AWPer in your default. The thing about defaulting, every team majority of the rounds on T side just defaults. The idea is just to default. No single team just heavily executes every single gun round they play. I mean, there's teams like that, and it is a special playstyle, but you know, most teams will just default almost every single round on T side, except a few outliers where they use a couple of strats. Every single team does defaults because it's defaulting is a way of gaining information without dying by using your nades properly, right? So that's where utility usage comes into play. So think about this, right? I'm not going to show every single map, but if you take car, like I just showed those nades, if you take car and you have it B, and you notice they fight for car, why not just use these two nades, you know, these two monies? And it just allows you to take all this control without really getting punished for it. And if you like commit all the way here and you're here, then you got to be careful of the next steps, you know, because what the CTs do a lot of times, they'll do coffin flashes. Every single default has its steps. You need to make sure you know of the utility you need to use. You need to know what utility might come back to you. You know, when you take card like this and you've done it before, the CTs might throw this card retake. So you gotta be ready. Like the second you see this smoke fly over, you gotta like be ready to smoke it if you wanna gain control, or you gotta be ready to Molotov pool again. If your teammate's car, you gotta be instantly when you see the smoke come out, flash pull for your car teammate to peek. So every situation is different, right? Like I just showed Inferno as an example now. The point of map control is just taking information without dying and being able to end somewhere and having enough nades left over to do so. Now, chapter 3.3, utility usage against lowbuy slash eco. Now, I think this is self-explanatory as well, right? Like, if you want to split A on nuke, make sure you use your mollies, right? Make sure you have someone doing this here. Make sure you can't get crossfired by pistols that have no nades. Molly behind default, molly CT vent. Flush the CTs out in positions that you think they might be in. You know, if one guy's going through hut, make sure you molly close out and then walk out. Same thing if you want to go towards B, make sure you like use all the necessary mollies, right? You can't be caught off guard. Um, Clear out your angles, flush out common positions. When you get to ramp, when you eventually do commit B, make sure you use the proper nades, you know. Make sure you flush out all the positions they could be in. Like, imagine if it's a gamble cycle, you know. Use a molly for everything. And eventually you just have to go out and trade and go together. Be careful of whatever patterns you might use. You know, if you've done the same exact thing a lot of rounds, then be careful that the CTs on a low buy type of round might try and counter you, change things up. If you on Inferno, for example, have only been mulling pool and taking card like this, right? Make sure maybe before taking card, then you had a double nade to sandbags, right? Hard clear this position here with like a broken wall flash or like a top left flash here. Just adapt to whatever situation might arise. Make sure you're not too comfortable with the nades you're using. Don't follow the same patterns. Change things up. Don't take control of the map in the same way. When you do go into a site, make sure you use the proper nades. Molly all the positions that they could be stacked in, and you won't be surprised. Chapter 3.4, talking about individual utility usage. I'll just be blunt with you guys. You gotta be just on point, right? You gotta just know every single thing on whatever side of the map you default on. If you're an A ramp defaulter like Nafani or Yakindar, those guys they know 10 different lineups to lurk smoke up A ramp. Those guys, they know every single piece of utility about the ramp that they could know. And I promise you, not enough of you guys on the part of the map you default in know enough about all the nades. You gotta know, for example, how to take yellow control if you're the one that's defaulting A ramp. You gotta know how to multi sandbags from like this, like from a safe spot here. You gotta know how to flash like A ramp if you're defaulting A for your teammates to going up. Like same applies for B. You gotta know how to lurk smoke like B for example. Do some pressure. You gotta know how to multi the stairs, etc. etc. And this like also applies to CT if you play A on Vertigo. You gotta know like this new meta smoke. You gotta know how to smoke like this meta smoke into yellow now. This is all up to you guys to know. But this is expected of you to know. This also circles back to general basics and knowledge, but this is more about your individual part of the map. If you play ramp on Vertigo, you gotta know how to like do all of these nades. You know, you gotta have a different lineup with like this smoke up here. Like you gotta have multiple lineups for this smoke here. You gotta have a smoke from here for deep ramp, you know? You gotta be able to smoke deep ramp from this position here. You gotta be able to smoke deep ramp from here somewhere. I'm sure there's a fucking lineup. Like I don't even know this lineup, and I play yellow all the time. I play gap all the time. So on every single position you play, you have to know everything. Okay? It also circles back, like I said, to general basics and knowledge. But this is just a tad bit extra. So make sure you get on that. Make sure you know everything about your position, every single thing you can know. You'll be good to go. You'll be fine. Now, chapter 3.5 is interplay utility usage between players. If you play, for example, nuke, if you play outside rifler, and you happen to be in main, and you hit a lot of players outside, a simple thing, for example, is asking your heaven rotation player or your op to flash outside for you if you think you have a timing and you hear a lot of them outside, right? And this is just a simple example of interplay utility usage between teammates, right? So you get a flash, you do this, you instantly peek, you get a kill or two, you fall back, right? If you're the door player, for example, um, I mean, this is also interplay utility usage between players, between teammates. You ask your main player, op rotation player to smoke door for you, right? And they'll be like, yeah, of course, I got you. They'll come here, they'll smoke for door for you. Your main player will come here. If he hasn't smoked glaive, he'll smoke door for you. So it's like just talking to your teammates, using whatever nades they can offer to your advantage. I mean, I won't delve too much into this. I'll just give a couple of examples, right? I mean, it's just simple. If I ask my teammate, yo, can you molly top out? I'm gonna walk out T-vent, outdoor, they rarely ever spam it, right? You do these nades, you come here, right? He goes and mollies top out for you. Super nice of him. Allows you to walk out T-vent, make a play. Maybe even like you could boost with someone else here, you know, try and get a kill this way. Or you could just go down events like this. So a lot of things are possible. You could also have the same player just do all the nades. You know, you could have him smoke for you, molly for you. And this just I just showed Nuke as an example, but it's like the same on every map. You know, like Dosu, if you want to go for a peek long, you just flash long for your teammate. If you want to go out mid doors, Dosu, you just flash throughout the doors. If you on CT side, Dosu or mid to B player and they come out B, you'll just flash for your teammates behind them on site. You know what I mean? So super easy. One more example I can give you, Nuke. If door is broken, the T's know about your teammate being here in CT vent and you're the A site player. Why not just give him an easy flash like this? You know, and then afterwards flashing for him, smoking like this. There's like a couple of super easy things to do, right? But you gotta offer this help. Um, there's a difference between teammates that help each other out and teammates that don't. Oftentimes, the teammates that do help each other out, you know, elevate their game to the next level. They find more success. Being a teammate like that will really help your chances of getting to the next level. That was basically it. Hope you guys enjoyed. I kept it kind of short. The last video I did got to like 40 minutes, I think. So I kept it tried to keep it kind of short. It's probably still long. I'm gonna have to see after editing. If you guys want to see me do the next episode in the series, let me know. I mean, this episode I worked less on than I did previous episodes. Like slightly less effort went into this episode than the other ones. So I mean, hope you guys still enjoyed anyway. I didn't touch on a lot of things, but utility is such a broad term and broad aspect that I feel like if I did talk about everything in the game, it would take a lot of hours and I would never finish this video. So, hope I could add some value. Hope you guys enjoyed and thanks for watching. Bye bye.